All right, y'all. So after Trump launched an illegal and offensive attack against Iran, a country that wasn't going to attack us and is not building a nuke, there are spontaneous anti-war protests that are popping up across the country. So this is a huge deal. We've, of course, talked about the No Kings protest and the hands-off protest, and those were wild successes with literally millions of people getting out there in the streets. We're talking, for the No Kings protest that just happened, 5 million people out in the streets, which would make it the largest U.S. protest of all time. Of all time. Well, now people are dropping everything they're doing and rushing out there to the streets, rushing out there to protest after witnessing what Trump and Netanyahu just did to Iran. So let's start with this one here. We have a video from Times Square in New York. Here we go.
So many of these signs saying Trump is a war criminal, stop the war in Iran.
That's what I'm talking about. Signs that say Trump is a war criminal and stop the war in Iran. That's the energy I'm talking about.
Lots of signs about money that has been spent on war. The organization putting this on is the Answer Coalition. They have said that they are frustrated and angry, and the only way that they think they can show that is to come out in the streets. I want to play some of my conversation with two of the protesters out here earlier today. Take a listen.
I think it's really dangerous because Trump is such a weak idiot. But all he has, the only policy he has for foreign policy in the Middle East is war. And so this is super dangerous.
We're out here today because the people of the United States do not want a war on Iran. Trump, Netanyahu waged a completely unprovoked, illegal attack on Iran that the people of this country completely reject.
You're not alone. You're not alone. I'm not alone. We're not alone. People are witnessing. People are waking up. People are literally dropping everything they're doing and getting out there in the streets. Now we have one anti-war protest in Boston.
Human rights are the very same ones that led us into the Iraq War in 2003. They are the pursuit of regime change and the fabrication that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. At that time, less than 1/3 of the senators and less than 1/2 of the representatives voted against this blatantly false and devastating enterprise. This time,
no bombs. Stop bombing Palestine, Iran, Lebanon,
to wage
Syria,
war on
Yemen.
Iran did not even lay in the hands of Congress, but instead in the lunatic claws of King Trump.
Something's happening, y'all. Something very, very serious is happening. All right, more. Here's anti-war protest. This is from a day later outside the White House.
Those live pictures right outside the White House. From where I'm standing, I can hear them very, very muffled in the distance with a loudspeaker, trying to make their voices heard outside of the West Wing. But certainly it just seems like a small demonstration at this point right outside the White House.
Well, I've got to say, I could hear him here in the studio at 30 Rock, so we heard him loud and clear. Let me ask you, Shaved.
We have really good microphones, apparently.
Yes, you do.
So shout out to MSNBC is actually covering these protests. I'm sure CNN is hiding them, and Fox News is definitely hiding them, and they're frothing at the mouth for more illegal attacks on Iran and a deeper regime change war. Remember, guys, Trump admitted this is about regime change. I told you, and Seymour Hersh reported, the green light was already given for regime change. The idea this was a limited strike on the nuclear facilities, total horseshit, not true at all. It is a regime change war. Trump admitted it. So now's the time, y'all. It's time to protest. Everybody get out there in the streets. I know it might feel like, does this really have an impact? Does this really matter? Yes, it fucking matters. You think Trump didn't notice the day he had his sad birthday military parade? You think he didn't notice that nobody came to that bullshit and it was embarrassing? At the same time, 5 million people across the country were protesting him. Oh, he noticed. He noticed. We need to put immense public pressure on these people. This is unacceptable. This is our government. With our money and in our name, they launched an illegal and offensive strike against a country that didn't attack us, they weren't going to attack us, and they weren't even building a nuke. There's not a question here as to who the baddies are. There's not even like a both sides thing. No, this is very clear. Netanyahu and Trump were acting illegally, offensively, aggressively. They are war criminals. Netanyahu is the same guy right now that's currently bombing Yemen, Syria, Lebanon, Gaza. Now they're moving on the West Bank as well. 5 conflicts going on. He started fucking all of them. And we're supposed to believe that that country is the innocent victim at the same time that Iran, a country that hasn't invaded another one for 250 fucking years, that they're the problem? Spare me. My ass cheeks. They're the problem. Get out of here with that nonsense. So get out there. Get out there in the streets. Do your thing. Look up where there's a protest. Join the protest. Make a sign. You know, I cannot stress enough. This is what matters. This is real resistance. Understand something. When Trump illegally sent Kilmar Abrego Garcia with no due process to the concentration camp in El Salvador, the media covered it relentlessly for a week, nonstop, hair on fire coverage, and you had massive protests, massive public pressure against what they were doing. They even tried to ignore a 9-0 Supreme Court ruling saying you have to facilitate his return. And eventually, it hit such a fucking fever pitch that they had no choice. This is the way forward. This is what we do. This is how we fight back. We don't give up. There is no giving up. It doesn't matter how horrible it gets. Doesn't matter how terrible it goes. They can't get all of us, can they? They can't arrest literally all of us. We have the numbers. We have the numbers. They have the money. They have the power. They have the status. They have all that other bullshit. But we have the numbers. And we need to be clear. There are red line after red line after red line is being flagrantly crossed, and we're not going to accept it. Hands off Iran. No war with Iran. And unfortunately, we're in a place now where we're already deep, bro. We're already deep because now Iran has to retaliate, shutting down the Strait of Hormuz, attacking our military bases, all that stuff. They're doing it right now. And so this was all avoidable. All we needed to do was not be the bloodthirsty imperialist warmongers. This government, all they needed to do was not this. And everything was fine. Trump pulled out of the Iran deal from 2018. Everything was going swimmingly. Everything was fine. He pulled out of it just to spite Obama. And now he's bringing us another illegal and offensive war in Iran, a regime change war. Hell no is what we say. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.